Hey, this is Andrew Brown, and this is a bonus video for the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp, all about removing sensitive data from your Git repository and a bit about scanning. So we are going to look at a few different tools and apply some knowledge here to help you out. And the reason why this scenario came up was that in week 0, even though I called it week 1 again, because I shouldn't have started with 0, I should have started with 1, I had you commit some JSON files. And here there was an email, so I did say to obscure it, but not everyone masked their email, like take out some of the letters so that I could at least grade it, but you don't expose your entire email address. We're going to see if we can scrub that out of our history. I'm not really concerned about it, but like if you wanted to, let's say, where we go here. If we go to our alarm, there are the ARNs. So people were concerned about the ARNs because they're saying, well, now people know a direct resource to my thing. The risk to you is very minimal, but if we want to do best practices, we could not have these at all or mask part of it. For grading purposes, I really would like to see the ARN. I don't need the full ARN. I just like if you can obscure and keep the last 4 letters of your account ID, that's going to make it a lot easier for me to be able to do that stuff. But let's take a look at what kind of solutions we have at hand. So I'm not sure if you know this, but GitHub has a marketplace. If we open this up and go down to the left-hand side, you'll see things like code review and security. So we go to security, we'll scroll down here, and there are services that can scan for secrets and sensitive data. So here we have scans your apps, sensitive data, secrets, vulnerable, third-party libraries, all sorts of stuff that we could directly integrate. And so like I was looking at this one and it sounded really good because it could scan for database credentials, passwords, stuff like that. But then when I looked up the cost of the service, it was like $500. And so that's not going to really work. And that's sometimes the issue with security services is that they're really expensive. But there probably is something that could be free here or have a free tier, but I wasn't exactly able to find that solution. So we are going to use an open source project to do a little bit of scanning. And there's different kinds of scanners that do different kinds of things, but right now we're looking for sensitive data. Ashish might have an idea of open source tool that we can use. I don't know. I'm just making the video here to make sure we get out the knowledge here. So that is one thing. And so I'm thinking that we'll probably end up using truffleHog to demonstrate finding leaked credentials. So this might be an interesting way to detect things, but there's also the idea of trying to remove from the history things that are sensitive, and that's where we're going to be looking at the BFG tool. So there is this page on GitHub called Removing Sensitive Data from Your Repository, and they talk about, I'm going to just expand it here a bit, they talk about using the Git filter repo. It's a library, or it's a library, command library that allows you to scrub data. But they say that to use BFG because it's a lot easier. If we scroll on down, they have an example of doing this here, where we say BFG, if it's installed, replace the text, and then replace the texts that are in that list. Now, you have to understand that what we are doing is we are going to be rewriting the history of our Git history. And so this is where we get into danger zone, where we could blow away our entire Git repository, really mess it up. So you have to be really careful what you're doing here. I don't do this every day because if you don't make mistakes, you don't have to do these things. But what we'll do is we'll create a playground repo to get the skills, and then I'm going to apply it to my real repo, and hopefully we don't blow these things up. So what we're going to do here is open a new tab at the top left corner. I'm going to create a new repository, and I'm going to go to my personal account, which is OpenKing. I'm going to say playground data scrub. Okay, you call it whatever you want. I'm not checking this for homework, so it's just something here. I'm gonna make it private because I'm gonna be putting sensitive data in here, and I do not want to expose it to the internet while we're playing around. So we are going to learn how to scrub passwords from our repo and to detect AWS credentials. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add a README there. We're going to go ahead and create this repository. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my way over to, I'm just looking for a place to log into AWS. So I should have my AWS console here. I am logged out. We will reload this. We'll relog back in here. I really hope I don't have to do double MFA. I do not, which is great. This is AWS Bootcamp. There, Andrew Brown. And I will go and find the password here. Okay. And, oh, AB. It should be AB here. Not sure why it was DA. And so you'll notice I have MFA because I turned on MFA. And if you're looking for a good application to use, I didn't really make any recommendations, but the one I like the most is called Authy. I think it's by Twilio, but I could be wrong. And I think that is like the easiest, best one to use, but you can use Google Authenticator, stuff like that. You should really turn on MFA absolutely 100% of your account, but I just have to enter the code in here. So this one's going to be for me 957667, enter. Okay. And we'll make our way into our account. So, you probably don't know this, but I keep rotating my keys. Every single video I make, I generate new keys and throw them away. You don't have to do this because you're not recording a video. You don't have to worry about that concern, but I have to rotate them very high because some of our students are poking at these things, which if you could, don't do that. But, you know, me being responsible, I know to rotate these out because I've been doing this for quite a few years, recording videos. I've learned my lessons the hard way. So we have a lot of options here, but the idea is that I want to generate out credentials. You could generate a second pair of credentials to do this, so you can keep your first pair in place. And so this is just going to be credentials to detect. It doesn't even matter. I'm just going to go ahead and hit create access keys. So what I'll do is I'm going to copy and paste these and place them in that repo. So what we'll do, and we don't even need getpod for this, because I want to save you compute. We are going to go ahead and add a new file. And I'm going to create a new file here. And we're going to call this configuration.json. Okay. And we're going to put a couple things in here. I'm going to bump up the font for you. And we're going to set up our initial one. So we were going to have our AWS access key, our AWS secret. I think this is AWS access ID. And this is our AWS access secret key. I always forget what they are. So we can go AWS nvars. And I mean, I didn't have to generate a new key to do this. We could have just, I guess, supposedly copied these ones. AWS access key ID, AWS secret access key. Okay. So I'll go AWS access key ID. We'll copy them, then we don't have to think about it. I suppose you don't have to generate real ones like I did, but I'm going to do that. If you don't feel confident using yours, you can just use these ones here. It will do the same thing, okay? So we'll go back over to here, and I'm going to put a colon here. We copied those, right? Yeah, we did. And I'll put double quotations around that. That's what makes a valid JSON. Okay, and we're not filling these in right away because I want to have some commit history so we can cherry pick out those commits. So we also want our email. All right. And we'll try password. Yeah, we'll leave password alone, it's fine. So we're going to say Andrew at cloudprojectbootcamp.com. Well, we'll leave it blank for now because we're going to set up the structure. Okay. And we'll go ahead and add structure for JS for configuration. We will commit that. We are going to now go back and update this file. So I'll go here again. We're going to add our email. So add our email. I am using real keys and secrets. You do not need to do that. You can just use the one on the documentation for environment variables here and there, okay? And so I'm going to paste that in here. I'm also going to paste in our secret here. And I'm going to also put it in my AWS account ID. I'm just grabbing it off screen here, so I'm going to grab that there like this. I'm going to, oh, perfect. I thought it was going to give me the hyphens, so we took those out. So now that's sensitive data. Add more sensitive data. And again, this repository is private. Make sure you set it as private. You do not want to commit anything seriously here. Okay, so we have some information. So imagine I looked at this repo. I'm like, oh, darn, I wasn't supposed to do that. So what we'll do is we'll go and edit it, and we will remove the data. Now, the data is gone, but it actually isn't. Because if we go over to our history here, our commits, we can click in here and see they are here. So we need to scrub them from all history. And consider that if this is a public repo, if somebody forked a repo, if somebody branched or cloned your repo, that stuff is exposed. That means it's time to rotate out your passwords and stuff like that. So let's say I'm like, okay, this has been compromised. What do I do? Well, the first thing I do in AWS is I'm going to, this is fine, we'll say continue. We want to kill these credentials. So we go to, whoops, where is it here? They changed the interface on me, that's why I'm a bit confused. And I also have my screen increased size. So we're under security credentials, and we have our access keys. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna delete and deactivate. So you have to deactivate first. So I'm just gonna take this, paste it down below here. Well, hit the deactivate button, sorry. Then paste that in and delete. So now those credentials are gone. That's like rotating them, right? So I know that I don't have to worry about that anymore. But if they're in your repo, you should also scrub them out of there. Because even if there are older stuff there, you don't want them hanging around, because there has been cases where there were security vulnerabilities where the history still kind of existed in AWS. I don't know anymore, but that was like a few years ago where old user accounts still kind of existed around. It's a poor description of how I'm describing it. So good practice is to try to remove as much as you can. So what we'll do is we'll try to use this BFG tool. This requires Java to run. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this in Git pods. So I'm going to just go down here a little bit here, click my Git pod button. And since Java's already starting Git pods, it's going to make my life a lot easier. But we'll also try truffleHog, and that requires using Python, I believe. I've never used these tools before. I've used a different paid services before, so it'll be fun to figure this out here. I don't imagine it will be too difficult to use. Okay, so this has now been loaded, and I'm going to bump up the font because I reduced it here. It's 24. Font terminal 24. If you're wondering how did I get this cool dark background, if you go in the bottom left corner here and you go to themes, you can then change your color theme and choose a different one. I never showed that in the course. I didn't think of doing that. Okay, so we'll go here. This is much larger now. So we can go ahead and install these two tools. I am going to, I'm just thinking about how I want to install this. Because we can put them in the gitpod YAML file so we have them. But we'll go here. Remember, it was really easy to install. Here it is. Clone the repo, cd, go install. So there's go. We can use Docker to install it, which I guess is a way of doing it. We can do brew install. So there's lots of ways to install it. Brew is already installed by default on here, and that's going to be the easiest way. So I'm going to do that. Brew is a package manager for Linux and Mac. It has to be installed in your system. So if you're on Windows, you're not going to be able to do this. If you're on your local machine, it might not have brew installed. So this might be the easiest way to get that one installed. While that's going, on the right-hand side, and this is really small, but there's a plus button that opens up another bash window. So we can do two things at once. And in here, we want to go ahead and install the BFG tool. So I'm looking for the BFG installation instructions. We'll view this project on GitHub. How do we install it? So I don't want to clone it. You think they'd make that easy? Okay, so install BFG BFG. Maybe we can find out over here. It's just a jar, they say. Is there a formula for it? Removes large files and passwords. So when you're dealing with Java, Javas usually have .jar files. And so if we go back to the BFG repo here in GitHub, like we might just have to be able to download the jar and run it. So I think that's probably what it is. Sometimes there's releases on here. So if I go to the right-hand side, we have releases. And there's the source code, but I'm not seeing the compiled jars. So I am more comfortable doing it through Homebrew if it's already there. So I'm going to do that as well. And so I'm doing this on another tab. I'm going to install BFG, and hopefully that just works. We'll go back to our first tab here. I'm going to close this window. And it looks like we haven't ran into any issues installing truffleHog. So truffleHog, we didn't really talk about it, but where did it go? Over here. truffleHog is a service that scans for leaked credentials. Is it going to scan our entire repository? I don't know. I guess we'll find out here in a moment. So what do we have to do? We have to do scan a repo for only verified secrets. Found verified results, AWS plain, raw results, commit, counter, etc. So it wants us to input a repo. I guess the question is, will it be able to do it if we are in private? I don't know. So I'm going to go here. And, well, first we need to, well, we did install it, right, I think. So if I go here and use this test repo they have, maybe that is one way we can check first before we check our own repo. So I'll type in clear. And I'll paste in, whoops, it is not copying right. Copy, paste, hit enter. I'll see what we get back here. And it says AWS plain raw result commit. So it's finding in the commit history where the issue is, right? Here it's finding a URI plain, so some other information. So that's kind of cool. Now let's see if we can do it with our own repo, even though it's private. So I'll go here, copy this, clear. We'll hit up, and we'll go back here, and we will clear this out. We'll hit enter. So see if it can do it. Unearth your secrets. I don't say anything. I'm going to take out this only verified flag. Okay. And it goes back in time and it finds the results. So found unverified result. I think what it means by unverified is that maybe it can't tell whether the key is live or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here because I just want to verify if verified means that the key is live, and that's what it's telling us. So we'll create a new access key. I'm going to go here, checkbox down, and I'll try this again. Since I'm already here, we'll just update it. Copy. If you're not comfortable doing this, do not put in this. Do not commit it to a private repo. You don't have to worry about it, okay? I'm doing it to show you. I'm going to go here. Whoops. Okay, I don't need my account ID in there right now. That's totally fine. So we'll go here. I'm going to go and commit this. So commit live keys to repo. We'll save that. We will attempt to run this again. I'm just hitting up on the keyboard with the only verified flag. And now it's saying found verified results. So I believe that this means that if it's with the flag of only verified, it will even tell you, hey, this is a live thing we got here. So that is something that is interesting. It doesn't necessarily scan for ARNs. I don't think it does that. Added over 700 credential detectors support active verification against their respective APIs. So that's pretty cool. We've also added support for scanning GitHub, GitLab, file systems, S3, Circle CI. I wonder if they have like a full list of it. We'll go here to the top. There is a website over here, Truffle Security. I guess they have pricing, but it was nice that they have a free tier for us to learn. So yeah, I'm not sure where the list is, but I don't know if it would scan ARNs. Maybe someone from truffleHog can tell us. Okay, so it found that there was a verified one. If we go back here and we clear it out, we should see both the results, right? We go here, and we have an unverified one and a verified one. Now, it's only grabbing the secret, or is it the access key? Well, it must be both, right? So here it's showing the access key, and it's suggesting that the secret is here and where the commit is. So it's not like it's going to spit back exactly what it found, but it's going to give you indicators where to investigate. Like, okay, it's in this commit. It's based on this access key, so therefore the secret is there. It's in this file, so the secret is in there. It's just not displaying the secret to us because a good security tool does not spit back the secrets to you to expose them on your screen if it finds them. It's just how they work. So now that we used a truffleHog successfully, let's take a look at BFG if it's installed. And it's still installing. So what I'm going to do is wait a little bit because it looks like it's going to take a little bit of time to install. And I'll see you back here in a moment, okay? All right, so we are back, and I'm just going to double check to make sure I did not lose the video because I thought I paused, but I actually stopped the video. So I'm just going to double check here. Yeah, we're okay. So what I'm going to do now is I want to run this BFG tool, okay? And so let's go take a look at the simple BFG instructions we found over here on the remove sensitive data on the GitHub docs. And we want to replace text. That's really what we want to do, and we're going to provide a txt file to do it. So I'm going to make a temporary file here. We're not going to commit it. It's just we're just using it for now, and we'll just say like replacements. I'm not going to call it passwords. Replacements.txt because I don't know what it's going to replace it with, right? So if we go back to where did that go? Over here we had our access key and secret. So I'm going to paste them on individual lines. So this is our access key. This is our secret. We will go into our history. And we know that we committed, not here, our email. So we might want to scrub that out. And we'll go here. And we'll want to maybe scrub out our account ID. I'd prefer this to be masked, but I don't know how to do that with this tool. We will grab the old access key and secret, the ones that we that aren't live. And we will save this file. We're not going to commit this to the repo. We've got to remember not to commit it. And if we really don't want to accidentally commit it, we can move this one directory out. So I'm going to say mv for move, replacement. I'm going to go ... So it goes back a directory. And so I'll go cd ... do ls, and there's that file. So there's no chance of this getting accidentally committed to our repo. And we now want to try out this BFG tool. Again, I've never used it before, so this is the first time I'll be doing this. And so this is the one we want to run. So it's going to, I'm just going to paste it in, and we're going to change this to what we want this to be, replacements.txt. We'll hit enter. And it says workspace is not a valid Git repo. That's fair enough because we have to be in the repo here. And so I'm going to do this again. And I'm going to go ... back because we're going to go back a directory because that's where it is. And we'll hit enter. And it's going to do some stuff. So we'll scroll up the top and see what it did. Found 3 objects to protect. Found 4 objects pointing to these places. I guess it's probably taking care of branches as well. Are protected commits, and so their content will not be altered. These are protected commits. Contains one dirty file. The dirty content may be removed from other commits, but as the protected commits still use it, it is still an existing repo. Details for protected dirty content has been recorded here. If you really want this content gone, make a manual commit that removes it and then run the BFG on a fresh copy of your repo. If you really want this content gone, make a manual commit that removes it and then run BFG on a fresh copy of your repo. A fresh copy of your repo. And so that's something that BFG is saying in their instructions is to, if we go to that BFG website, BFG tool is they will mirror theirs, and then they'll be like, now you have a fresh repo, push that new repo. I'm not super confident about that. I mean, maybe you could push it to the same origin. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try, because this is a play repo, we can do whatever we want with it. Worst case, we'll just delete the repo. So we'll go down here and it says commit tree history. There's stuff like that. But based on this indicator, I think that we need to remove these first. So let's clean them out of the most active commit. I think that's what it's saying, really. And we'll go here and say remove secrets. Okay. And it's complaining. Refresh that again. If this happens, it's because we need to pull. So when I run into issues like this, I just go here. I do git pull. And it's because we have to run this command. It doesn't know what to do, rebase or merge. So I'll do that. And I'm surprised it doesn't give us, yeah, merge. Yeah, okay. And we'll do git pull. And it's going to show us a difference of the commits that we need to solve. So here, I want this one. We'll add that file. And we'll just type in git commit. And we'll save that file and close it. It's just how Git works. The prereq in this course is you're supposed to know Git, so I'm not teaching those things here. And so now if we go back over to here and we go and look at the most main file. Oh, it's still there. Okay. Oh, maybe we got to sync our changes because we didn't push it. There we go. So now let's run the BFG tool again. It was on our second tab on the right-hand side. I'll hit up, enter. I want to scroll up and see what it says. So it says, protected commits, these are your protected commits, so their content will not be altered. 81722E6E. And I just want to see where the commit history is. Probably it's always going to be one protected commit. So we go to their commit history, and this one says 81722EX6. Is that the same one? E6E. 817. I mean, it looks like that one. I think it is this one. It's just cut off, right? So they're not showing the full commit message. And I believe that this is the last one. So if there are secrets in your last one, the one that's protected, they're not going to scrub it. So that's totally fine. We'll go down below here and read a little bit more. So this is our commit tree dirt history, earliest, latest. And so they're showing us over time. Our latest one has been modified, so commit messages or parents have been changed. Dirty commits, D. So dirty as in they contain things we want to scrub. It's most of the configuration JSON file. They're showing how it's going to get changed for those commits until there are 10 objects and IDs. BFT is ready to run, complete, when ready, run, git, reflog, expire now, all this stuff here. So I'm going to do this, hit enter, and it's done something. Okay, and now what do we do? So we go back here, and that's what they're doing here. And then it's just git push. I'm going to do git push and see what happens. Updates were rejected because the remote contains work that you do not have locally. This is usually caused by another repository pushing to the same reference. You may want to first integrate the remote changes. Okay. So this is dangerous, but I'm going to do a git push force. 2 hyphens. Again, we're doing this on a test repo, not our real one, so we're going to see what happens. And so it's saying that it rewrote the history, so I want to see if all these commits are here. We have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think some of these codes are going to change. I'll take a screenshot here so we can compare. Refresh. And we have fewer things in here now. So that wasn't what I was expecting. I thought it wasn't going to delete them. I thought it was going to replace them. So that is a good question. What happened to those? I don't know. I'm going to open up my paint. and see what's happened. So are all the commits there? Kind of. Probably been easier if I named them here. So initial create is there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So clearly somewhere the secrets were removed is possible. Let's just click in here and see what we see. So we go here. It says removed. Good. We go here. It says removed. We go here. They say removed. This goes here. It says removed. So that is what it's doing. What I don't understand is why there are fewer commits. But it's worked. So, you know, I'm going to try this on my real repo and we're going to see what happens. And then I'm going to tell you whether it's a good idea for you to do it, because it's just a matter if it's going to mangle your Git history. We don't really want it to be mangled, right? If we're losing information. But I don't think we lost anything important. It just seems like there are commits where we certainly don't have anything in them, but I'm going to go back to here. I just want to make sure we don't lose stuff. That's my thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more test. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to go grab my access key and secret. Okay. And I want to also add an additional file here. So I'm going to say new file, txt, hello world, because I don't want to lose those commits. And I notice like some commits drop, so I'm trying to see if it drops a commit, do we lose the entire file? So this will be new file 1, I suppose. We'll do a couple here. So there's this one. We'll go here, so we'll add new files. Okay. And then I'm going to remove the password from here. And I'm going to add another file, new file.to txt. Goodbye, moon. We'll go back over here. Remove secrets. Okay. We're going to run the BFG tool again. So I'm going down here and I'm hitting up till I hit this. It's going to find something. It's going to tell me to do the flog. So we'll do that. And I'm going to go over to our history before we do a push. I'm going to go to our code here. And we're going to take a look at the commits. And so we have those two new files. Maybe the reason we don't see them is because of this merge and they did some stuff. So we have add new files, remove secrets. I'm going to go and hit, we did the reflog, so now we just need to push, get push force. I'm going to go back over here. We're going to give it a refresh. And we're going to go into the add new files. Those have been redacted. Our hello world is still intact. Okay. And then we go into this one. And that was the one where we removed them. So in the prior commit, it was there. So I don't think we're losing anything. I think everything's fine. So I think I'm ready to do that on my actual repo. So we'll go back over to here into, not this one. I'm done with this repository, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Go down here, delete the repository, delete. I got to use my phone. I'm going to use Authy because that is the authenticator I like to use. So we got 954-998. Okay, so that repo is gone. This is my personal repo. And these keys, I'm going to get rid of them right away because I know some of you students, you just get curious and you start poking around at things you're not supposed to poke around with. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Can't catch me. Okay. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch this up in Gitpod. So this is that. And I think it will scan all branches, and that's what we want to find out, right? We're just going to install BFG for this. Now you might ask, okay, well, how do we automate truffleHog? You can create GitHub actions that will check every single time and report stuff. That's out of the scope of this project, but I bet there is some way to do it. If we typed in like truffleHog GitHub action, it might already be in the marketplace. It's right here. So, I mean, maybe we could have used it in the marketplace and added it. I'm not sure, but because this says there's a GitHub action. I'm not sure where we see GitHub actions. Somewhere here. Oh, down here. So like these, we could have added like a hook in order to make that check every single time. So that would have been kind of interesting. So here, I'm just looking at, I'm going to bump it up here so you can see. Uses within the repository path, base, head. So here's a folder example. So yeah, there's some way to integrate it. But anyway, we're going to close that tab. I'm going to go back. I'm going to close this environment I don't need anymore. This is my cruder application. I'm in main, so I'm not even in the branch where, or these branches where these issues are. And so I'm going to install that BFG tool. So we installed it using Homebrew. Brew install BFG. Hit enter. I'll see you back here in a moment because it does take a little bit of time to install, like about 4 or 5 minutes. Okay. I paused. All right, so we are back. I don't know if I was unpaused, so now I'm definitely unpaused because I made a new video, or started it anyway. But the point is that our BFG tool is installed, and so we can now run it over here. I don't remember the commands, so we'll go down below and take a look at generally what we were supposed to run. The instructions were a lot easier on the page that we used to have here on Git. So Git credentials leaked. Can't remember what it was called, that page. So GitHub BFG might be easier to find it. Here it is, removing sensitive data from a repository. And if we go down below, it has this here. So it's actually really simple. We'll go grab this as we did before. I'm going to create a new file here, and this is going to be, what did we call it before? Not passwords. We'll just name it passwords. It'll just save us some time here. And I'm going to move that file back one. So we'll go passwords here, ... And then from BFG, we can do BFG, -- replace text. It'll be that file. I'm not going to hit enter in here because I have yet to fill it in. So what do we want to remove? Oh, the file's gone. Okay, so Command C to close that out. I'll just type in clear. And so if we want to open that file, I'm just going to do GP for open, or sorry, git pod. Open, I'm going to go back a directory here and hit enter. And so now I can edit this file. I'm going to put Andrew at cloudprojectbootcamp.com. And for fun, we will do our account ID as well. Okay. And we'll do BFG -- replace text ... passwords.txt. We'll run it and we'll see what we get. We're going to scroll up and found 9 commits pointing to main, head, things like that. It's pulling out particular repos, so references that it's finding issues in. We can see dirty here. I'm going to copy the command it tells me to paste here, paste it in. I'm going to do git push. I'm doing this on my real one. Now, again, they recommend mirroring it and then pushing in your repo, and always back up your repo if you can. So before you do this, maybe download your repo to your computer just in case, the old one. Back it up somehow. I'm going to do git push force and see what happens. It says everything is up to date. So I'm going to go back to my repo. And I'm going to give it a refresh. And we know that in this one, in week 1 again, I had data exposed in AWS JSON. We'll go to budgets here, Not this one. We'll go back. We'll go to this one here. This one here. It's still there. So what did it do? Because it did not work the same way. Get, reflog, expire, expire now, prune, etc. 7 objects IDs were changed. Full details are logged here. Oh, so we have a log. Let's open that log up. Do GP open here. That did not do what I wanted to do. Oh, there's files in here, so changed files. Those commits were changed. Alarm config week0.md. We'll go back over here. We'll go into journal. We'll check week 0. Nothing in there. Well, we're in week 1 again. So I'll go to main here. So I'm trying to figure out, is it applying to just the main repo, which is what we have checked out, or is it to all of them? So we go here, there's nothing in here. So where is it applying these changes? Is it applying these changes? This would be a lot easier if it was just in main. So I'm not 100% sure if it's working. I'm going to go check out, git check out a different different branch here where I know there's trouble, like week 1 again. Check out week 1 again. This is going to be a lot easier for you. You don't have branches. You just have to push. I'm going to run the tool again. Okay, it's found differences. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to do a git push. Says everything's up to date. We go to week 1 again. It's still there. Give me a second, I'll go do some research. Okay, so looking for some help here. They're saying, hey, you really do have to mirror it, because if you mirror it, it will make all references. So branches, tags, everything. And that's not what we did. We didn't do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back a directory here, and I'm just going to git clone it the way it's asking to do, which is using a mirror. So I'm going to do -- mirror. We'll go back over to, where are we? Again, I'm doing this for the first time, so you might just want to watch me do it and see how I solve it before you apply it yourself. I'm looking for the instructions from BFG. Where did they go? The mirror thing, that's what, here it is. So we just put the repo. So I'll go to the bootcamp here. I'm going to go to main. We will close that out there. I'm going to go to, whoops, I don't want to launch Gitpod. We'll go to code, local. I'm going to do HTTPS because that's the easiest to do, I believe. I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to just say bootcamp. So it's just going to put it to a new folder. If I didn't put that on the end there, then it would have a conflict with 2 folders. We'll go into the bootcamp directory. This is something interesting. If you go over to your Git history, source codes, it usually will show 2. Well, I guess maybe not because the repo wasn't here to start with. But anyway, my point is that we're over here and we have a bare main repo. So we are going to try the same command again from before, BFG, replace text passwords. Okay, and so something has changed. We cannot rely on this source code here because we have 2 repos in here. Sometimes the source code shows both of them in here. Sometimes they don't. I don't know how to add the second one here retroactively. So that's totally fine. But what I'm going to do is run this command they told me to run. Okay, and I'll do a git push. And it looks like it's doing a forced. So remember before I was doing -- force? If we do it this way, it's already going to force it for us. Now we'll go back over here to our repo. I'm going to do a refresh. I'm getting some things here about pushes less than a minute ago. That's totally fine. Ignore these. This is just for like pull requests. It's not related to what we're doing. So now what I want to do is go into week 1 again. We will go into AWS JSON. We will check the budget. That one's not very useful. I keep forgetting what file it's in. My email's still there. So what did it do then? It says forced update, forced update, forced update. What'd you update? Because the email's still there. Maybe I didn't type the email right. Let's see if it got rid of the account ID. Okay, so I'm thinking I made a mistake. If we go here, yeah, look at that. There's a spell mistake. Okay, AndrewCloudProjectBootcamp.com. So we'll try this again. We'll go and say replace. We will go do the next line here. We will go and push. Great, they're forced. And so if we go back over here to there, and we check, the email has been redacted. So we have successfully done it. I did not blow up my entire repo. We learned about truffleHog. We learned about BFG. So hopefully that helps you out. What I'm going to do is just make sure I kill any credentials here, just double checking, because I do not need students messing with my accounts. And yep, the keys are gone, so I am A-okay. This Gitpod I'm going to close, and I don't want to deal with it again. This is a lot easier when you're using Gitpod, as you can tell, because we can just get rid of the environment and start over. But yeah, there you go. Hopefully that helps folks that are concerned about that stuff. I imagine what you could do is if you wanted to mask it. So remember I said if you wanted to leave part of it there, you could, instead of putting the full value, in that, it's already gone because we didn't save it, but that password file, that txt file, you could just put the first 8 letters of your AWS account and it would wipe that out and it would leave the 4 for me if you wanted to do that. But yeah, there you go.